Rapunzel. Once upon a time, there lived a man and his wife who wished for a child. But many years passed, and they were disappointed. From the window of their house, they could see a beautiful garden full of flowers and vegetables. It was surrounded by a high wall, and no one dared enter there, for it belonged to a witch whom everyone feared. One day, the woman was looking out of her window and saw a bed of beautiful radishes which she longed to eat. The longing was so great that as the days passed, she became sick for wanting them. Her husband asked her, "Why are you sick?" "I fear that I shall die," she replied softly, "if I do not eat some of those beautiful radishes that I see when I look out of my window." The poor man thought, "I do not want my wife to die, so I must get her what she longs for." He waited until it was dark, and he climbed over the wall into the witch's garden. It was quite deserted, and he escaped with a bag full of luscious radishes. They were such a lovely flavor that the woman wanted more. So the next evening, her husband waited until it was dark and climbed over the wall into the wicked witch's garden. As he landed on the grass, there was the witch in front of him. "You thief! Come to steal some more of my radishes, have you? Evil will come upon you for this." "Please have mercy," begged the man. "I only did this for my wife, for I feared she would die if she did not eat the radishes she saw from her window." "In that case," said the witch, "go and help yourself to all the radishes you want, but there will be a price to pay. When you have a child, you must give it to me. I will take care of it and treat it as a mother would." The poor man was so frightened that he consented. A year later, his wife gave birth to a baby girl, and the witch gave her the name Rapunzel and took her away. And when she was 12 years old, the witch locked her up in a tower. This tower stood in the middle of a forest and had no door, no stairs. When the witches wanted to enter the tower, she called up to the window, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Rapunzel had very long and beautiful hair, as fine as spun gold. When she heard the witch's voice, she opened the window and let her hair fall down to the ground, and the witch climbed up the hair to the top. 3 or 4 years passed, and it happened that the king's son was riding through the forest. As he came close to the tower, he heard the sound of a beautiful voice singing, and he looked up to see Rapunzel at her window. The prince wanted to reach her, but he saw that the tower had no door. So he went home feeling very sad. Rapunzel's singing had so enchanted the prince that he rode out to the tower every day just to listen to her. One day, he saw the witch come and call, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." The prince watched as Rapunzel's hair fell to the ground, and the witch climbed up. "So that is how I must reach her. I'll try tomorrow." The prince returned to the tower the next day, and when Rapunzel finished singing, he called out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Her dresses fell down, and the prince climbed up. At first, Rapunzel was frightened at the sight of a man, for she had never seen one before, but the prince was so kind and gentle that she soon lost her terror. He asked her if she would be willing to marry him. Rapunzel was longing to be set free from the witch and her lonely life in the tower. "I would go with you anywhere, but I have no way of climbing down from here. Each time you come to me, bring me silk to weave into a letter so I can escape." The prince visited Rapunzel every evening because the witch always came in the day, and they kept their secret safe from the old woman. Then one day Rapunzel said to her, "How is it that you find it so hard to climb up to me when the king's son is with me in a moment?" The witch was furious. "I thought I had separated you from the world, and now you have deceived me, you wicked child." She took a pair of scissors and cut off Rapunzel's beautiful golden hair. The witch tied the tresses to the window latch and took poor Rapunzel to a desert where she left her to die. The witch returned to the tower later that day and waited for the prince to come. When he called out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," she let down the tresses. He climbed up and into the window, but instead of Rapunzel, he found himself face to face with the witch. "Aha!" she exclaimed. "Rapunzel no longer sits in her nest singing. The cat has taken her away and will now scratch out your eyes. You will never see Rapunzel again." The poor prince was so unhappy that he leaped out of the window of the tower. He fell into a bush, which saved him from death, but the thorns put out his eyes, and he wandered blind in the forest. He wandered like this for 2 years, until one day he heard a voice, which he thought he knew, softly saying. As he approached, Rapunzel recognized him and fell on his neck. Her tears washed over the prince's eyes, and he could see again. Together they traveled to his kingdom, where they were greeted with much rejoicing, and where they lived long and happy lives. What became of the old witch, no one ever knew.